Hello, friends, family, and assorted neighbors. It's very good to see you today. I am Jonno and Jonathan. I'm both of those things. And that guy over there is,
Neither of those
as they
things.
say, uh, probably for the better
Very
in
much
your
for the
opinion.
better. Zantok, Lister, yeah, I go by either or.
hmm Even if you combine the names, Listantok, Xantister.
I'm gonna have to say you are never allowed to say either of those two things ever again.
What about the viewing audience?
Nope.
So we don't want a hashtag. Okay,
Moving on.
moving
Why are
on.
we here? Why did you
Strike
wake
that
me
on the
up at this
bingo.
time in the fucking morning?
I'm sorry. I know it's 4 a.m., but that's pretty much the only time that we had in the midst of a pandemic where we're all locked in our houses and have nothing else to do. It makes sense.
God
So,
damn it.
amidst it all, I just want to let you know one quick thing, and that is, ha, yeah,
What?
ah,
Somebody just came in my room and broke a pot. That was
yeah,
fifty
that happens.
dollars.
I'm also gonna send some angry pigs your way,
Oh, please don't send the pigs.
and I'm gonna run amongst them like they're my brethren.
Last time you sent the pigs, we had bacon for 3 months. We didn't have room to store it all.
There's some new neighbors that moved in next door, so you could just store it in the walls,
Fuck
and
that.
they'll
My
wonder what
bacon.
the smell
They
is.
don't get any.
Oh, I'm not saying to get any. I'm just saying you have to get a little inventive. There's also a roof, I think. Some bushes nearby. Okay. So I think we're going to talk about someone who makes those sort of sound effects and also knows about pigs and pots. And I'm not talking about your mother.
Jake?
Yes, I'm not talking about Jake, your mother. I'm talking about Toon Link,
Wait.
who,
Toon who?
yeah,
There's only one
Toon
Link.
Link.
His name is Link. He's not named Toon Link. That's stupid.
If you were
That'd be like
around
having a young
pre-brawl, you
Link
might have
or a
thought that.
wild Link or a Skyward Link. Like what would you
Or
do? No, you don't name somebody Toon and their last name Link. What the fuck?
I think you need to tell that to the creators of both. You need to consult
What kind
Sakurai
of
as well
Northwest
as.
bullshit is this?
You may need to consult the creators of Yu-Gi-Oh as well
What
with
the
this
fuck
complete
did Yu-Gi-Oh do? What does that have
Toon
anything
World.
to do with?
Good old,
Oh,
yeah,
all
yeah.
right. Well, in that case, Toon Link would make sense. Wait, hold on. Smash is for video game characters, not cartoons.
Oh, it's okay because Toon Link is from a cartoon-styled Zelda title that eventually turned into a whole branch for the design.
I thought he was from Four Swords Adventures,
He is from Four Swords Adventures. Now that you mention it, that
which is
design was used
before
in
Wind Waker.
on the timeline, perhaps, but not in the order of chronological releases.
Really, Minish Cap and Four Swords came after Wind Waker?
Yeah,
That sounds bullshit. I don't believe that.
no, no. Uh, Wind Waker came out first. It was the debut of the Toon design because, as you will remember, back at Space World, I think 2001,
Right, because
Nintendo
I
had
went to
that
Space
demo.
World.
You did, and they had that exposition of a Zelda demo that was based a lot more on bringing Ocarina of Time into the
Fuck.
128-bit world, and that had an adult Link fighting Ganondorf in Ganon's Tower, and everyone was like super hyped because it was kind of this more mature take on Zelda. And then they come around, and because that was just a tech demo, and when the GameCube is actually out and they're releasing, demos and trailer reveals at E3, they're like, "Oh yeah, here's the new Zelda game," and it's the Wind Waker trailer,
Guess
and
what? Four
everybody
Swords is
was
before Wind
pissed.
Waker.
Uh, in the release order.
By 11 days.
Wow, nice. Not Four Swords Adventures though.
No, Four Swords that came packaged in with a link to the past. December
Nice.
2nd,
So they
2002, while Wind Waker was December 13th, 2002. I'm right. Fuck you.
You said Four Swords Adventures.
But I was saying Four Swords right after that.
We will rewind the clips after the break.
No, there's
And
no
yeah,
break.
we do have breaks now.
We do not
They
have
just
breaks
don't.
now.
They
We
just
have
they
no
don't know it.
sponsors, so we don't have breaks.
Hold on. Here's a message from our sponsor. Do you like banana bread?
Kind of.
The bananas in the bread are warm as the bananas in your heart.
But there's
Thanks to
no
Banana John's.
no.
And that's about all I got. Um so cool
Point is,
fact.
I was right. Four Swords is the first appearance of the so-called Toon Link. Wind Waker came 11 days later.
Although
Nope, that is fact.
Wind Waker was the first reveal.
Doesn't fucking matter.
It was the first reveal. It matters in the scope of the history because that's people's first take on being super angry about the design.
Okay, but Roy's first game was Smash Bros. Melee.
Yeah, and people were not mad about Roy at the time, were they?
Nope.
The fools.
To be fair,
Probably
it was
because
because who's this character? We don't know who this character is. Oh, this is from a
Roy,
Japanese
that's
only
my
game?
dad's name.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. At the time, most people thought Martha and Roy were from the same game in the series. I'm sure. So
So, what are we talking about again?
we're talking about Toon Link and kind of the history of Toon Link.
Oh,
So
right. His
yeah,
first appearance, Four Swords.
Yeah, yeah, Four Swords released first. I would like to go back and look that up on the wiki too to see the exact specifications of that and when they revealed Four Swords too. I wonder if it was at E3 as well, and they just had Wind Waker come first, and that was the big reveal. Interesting. But at the time when they revealed Wind Waker, and we got this first look at Toon Link and the first look at the Forsaken Fortress and elements of Wind Waker and Moblins, people were
Less than
not
pleased.
very happy, no, because they had this taste of a more of an Ocarina of Time style game that was so technologically above what the Nintendo 64 could push out. That didn't help things. It was kind of like, Metroid Prime 3 and then a huge waiting period and then having Federation Force.
I would compare it more to people were expecting a game that visually would look more like Twilight Princess, and what they got was a Saturday morning cartoon.
That's true. That's true. What's funny though is that all of those bad tidings from the initial fanboy rush really turned around for Toon Link after a few months of the game being released, where they're like, "Hey, this is charming and also fun. Who knew?" So,
I'm fairly certain that looking back, it's now more popular than Twilight Princess is.
yeah, that's funny, isn't it? Because Twilight Princess is what people were begging for, and they finally got it at the end of the GameCube's life. I think in
Yeah.
2006, as a launch title for the Wii 2. And then and Twilight Princess is a great game in many regards, but we've learned that the cell shading style that Nintendo helped establish, that Okami helped establish, is timeless. You can remaster a game easily in that style and have it look great,
Yeah.
and
It,
people
it,
people
it
will
stand
be
the test of
entertained.
time a lot easier than Twilight Princess.
Yeah, and it's funny because after that initial reaction, people loved Wind Waker so much that we got a direct sequel to the Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass on the DS in what
And they
2005
loved that game so
or
much we got
six.
another direct sequel.
Yeah, which is funny because not many people really loved Phantom Hourglass because of the
They did
Temple of the
not.
Ocean King, but that's a tale for another day. Spirit Tracks, it was better than Phantom Hourglass. I'll give you that much. The whole playstyle of the DS things were just weird, but that's not what we're here to really harp on too much. But then also they use the Toon Link style in Four Swords. They use it in Four Swords Adventures, and they use it in Minish Cap. So there were these overarching timelines being developed between the Wind Waker and Four Swords with the
And
Toon Link design.
and they're mostly different links, but they use the same basic design for their looks. And I think Triforce Heroes would be, you could say, is also using the Toon Link design.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. And you know what's interesting too is people like me around the time when we were discussing brawl speculation way back in the day. At this point, I don't
Oh
even
yeah.
want to think about how long ago that was. I was like, hey, you can renovate Young Link to be to look like the Link from the Wind Waker and give him some Wind Waker items or whatever. And then we got Toon Link, and it was a replacement to Young Link, and we're like, what? The name was weird.
I mean, I was on team so Midna, right?
Yeah, and
That's where I was for Brawl and Zelda characters. Just
Mhm,
like it's gonna be
mhm,
Midna, and some people would be like
mhm.
Zant. It's like no, it's gonna be Midna. Then it's
Zant
like
is like Zant
Toon
is like
Link, huh?
Girahim.
What?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now it was a last minute inclusion. It was of those three characters that Sakurai was like, "Hey, we have a little more development time. Let's just toss them in."
Yeah,
So there's that. There's that going for it too. And I guess that there was some sort of evidence that Toon Zelda could have been in the game as well.
there was.
In
And Toon
those
Sheik.
Forbidden Seven. Toon Sheik. Oh
That's what
yeah,
it said
the
in the code.
totally.
Whether or not they meant Tetra or an actual Toon Sheik is still up in the air, and probably always will be.
Imagine if it really were Toon Sheik for a moment and the despair you'd feel in your heart.
Good thing I don't have one.
Good thing you don't have one. Okay. So, and Toon Link at the time, he had some differences from Young Link, but I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, the reveal left a little to be desired.
I know I
But
always felt like Toon Link was a bit of a sad replace for Young Link because okay, cool, he's a different size, I guess. Some of these attacks come out faster and a little bit stronger, but Young Link had fire arrows. Toon Link is just like, oh yeah, I just have regular arrows and a regular boomerang and a regular sword. There's nothing cool, nothing unique about how he attacks and that would make him different. Young
which
Link
is
didn't have much difference
funny.
from Link either, except he did have at least the
Hmm.
fire arrows to be just a touch different. Toon Link is just,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm that guy, but bright colored.
Hmm.
Except this was Brawl, so not really.
Yeah, it was weird. It was a drab Toon Link that was brought out of the cell shaded world into just like
The more
here's pseudo
realistic
realism.
Brawlism.
Yeah, that was strange. He got better with the design over other Smash entries, thank goodness. And now we have Toon Link and Young Link on Ultimate,
Not
but
confusing at all.
not confusing at all. Maybe Sakurai had some sort of foresight, and that's what it's like. We'll do this Toon Link, and then that'll be Young Link. Uh, Still, across 7 games where the Toon Link design is used, and Tetris Trackers, which was never released, we have a moveset that is achingly generic
Hmm.
compared to what we could have, and that's where we're coming with this episode, where we're what are we doing again?
We are going to be decloning Toon Link, which is something that we said before we started the podcast. Just like, okay, so we're doing these Smashtopias. We're going to be making movesets for new characters, thinking how they could work if they were in Smash. But we also knew ahead of time, it's like, at some point, we want to be able to declone all the clones and all the echoes. We want to be able to make them
Yeah.
be their own unique characters. And we decided to start with Toon Link. We could have started with really any of them, but we wanted to do a Zelda character. We've been wanting to do a decloning. The timing just matched up for both happening at the same time, and Toon Link is a pretty easy one to come up with stuff for, I think.
Oh yeah, I don't think the
It's not
problem is
like
going to
Frahm, who
be
would be a
that we
little bit
have.
harder.
Yeah, I bet he would be. He's a muscular guy.
Hmm.
Anyway,
I will also say that there are currently some characters already on Smashtopia that are decloned. Uh, Lucina being one
Lucina.
of them.
Yep. Yep.
And there was another one I did
Yeah.
that I don't remember who it was. I might just be
Uh,
thinking of Alf.
you did do Elf, so there's
I was
that.
pretty sure I'd done another declone at some point. I'm gonna have to check real quick, see if I can find them.
Alrighty. Yeah, with Toon Link, the issue is not going to be that there's a lack of ideas at all. We have so many individual places to potentially pull from.
Dark Pit.
So I'm interested. Dark Pit. Okay. You heard it here. If you go over to the wiki, which is always linked in the description on YouTube or on my website, jfrom.com, you'll be able to enter the wiki pretty simply
Yep.
and check it out. This will eventually be on the wiki. Maybe sooner than later because it's actually an easy one to translate, I'm going to assume. Heck, I could do it. I'll go on the air right now and pledge my service to the wiki.
Hmm. So yeah, I'm looking at here, and yeah, I have de-echoed Dark Pit on the Smashtopia site. I also have a Falco uploaded, but it's not that different from Fox. It's a lot more standard to Falco. At some
Yeah,
point, I want to
it's a
differentiate him a little bit more, but it's not there yet.
got it. I know that one of our things at the like apex of developing the wiki was this transfixion on just getting all of the characters that were actually in the game on the site.
Yeah,
So I guess that might have been where Falco was coming from.
it was.
Okay, cool. Well, Falco's there if you want to see him anyway. But Toon Link is who we're going to be workshopping today. We're going to change up potentially everything about the moveset, unless we somehow decide that the standard move that's already there is better,
I will
which
say
I
that
don't
there
think
are
is going
some
to
of
happen.
my moves that are either very similar to what they were already, or they are just not changed.
Okay, sounds good. But I think if you're about ready to dive into this de-cloning project, we're going to have to start with the taunts as per usual, I believe.
Actually, you're wrong.
Oh,
It's the
are we?
entrance animation that we start with.
Aha. Good thing
So,
I wrote that down.
God damn it. So, what Toon Link has had from Brawl moving forward is, there'll be a cartoon-looking explosion that appears on the screen. Somebody threw a bomb, or maybe it got fired off from a cannon. Who knows? And he appears behind it. The smoke fades. You see him. He shakes his head a little, but pulls out his sword and shield ready to fight. Personally speaking, I see no problems with that. Just
Oh
because
no.
we're decloning Toon Link here doesn't mean everything has to change. A lot of times, some of his animations they might just all stay, and I see no reason to change his entrance animation at all.
The only thing that I could think of, and this is coming totally off the cuff because I forgot that characters even had entrance animations because I've been selling my soul to Animal Crossing for so long, I've forgotten what other games do to operate.
Wow,
So,
some Smash aficionado you are.
well, I've put 25 hours into New Horizons since quarantine.
Okay, I
Oh
probably
boy.
put in more than that.
50, I read on your profile.
Seriously?
Yeah, it
Shit.
said 50 or more. There goes.
And
I'm
I'm
only
just playing it
playing it for
casually.
Smash research.
I am though. At some point, I'm gonna stop, and I feel like I'm getting to that point fairly soon.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do in Animal Crossing. It's fun for a while, and then you develop your town. You're like, see
Yeah.
ya. Okay, good thing the animals aren't going to bitch and attack you anymore. Anyway, when you do leave, for the only thing I could think of off the top of my head is the bomb is a good idea, and I have a couple of instances in my move set that I have written down here to reference for notes that where I am like, hey, this is fine as is. But in this instance, I'm thinking just to pitch it to you as a certain proposal. What if Toon Link rides in on a little like rides in on a ocean, not necessarily a wave either, but it could be a wave, but rides in on some water on the King of Red Lions and hops off.
It's an interesting idea.
Yeah. Not because we necessarily need to change it, but because it's an option and because it represents the flagship Toon Link game.
I think it might be better if instead of like there's a wave of water, it's like the boat just pulls up to the platform and he just gets off the boat.
Yeah, that works too. That works too. So I think it's a way to incorporate the King of Red Lions and the moveset, very iconic character for the Toon Link games. And because I didn't do any research on Hyrule Warriors Toon Link because I forgot the Toon Link was even in the game and never played anything past the base game on the Wii U. Whoops. I don't have any other instances where the King of Red Lions is used in my moveset. so
I mean, I don't either, so
so and if we are kind of at a standstill on the idea, then maybe we can just come back to it later.
I mean, I'm fine with it being the King for Red Lions because then if we ever do a Tetra episode, that opens up her entrance animation to be the bomb explosion.
And that might make more sense because she's a pirate. She uses a lot of bombs.
Yeah.
Hey, good idea. Okay, King of Red Lions. The decloning process has already begun.
Indeed, it has.
I think now we go into taunts, unless I want to be wrong about my own show again.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kirby hat, really.
Oh, did we do Kirby Hat? Okay.
Yeah.
That's gonna. I'm gonna
Uh,
spoil my surprise.
it's Toon Link's hat.
For me, it is Toon Link's hat,
Oh
and
my
by
god.
Toon Link's hat, I mean it's Toon Link's hat from the Minish Cap, also known as Eslo.
No.
Yes.
No, it is Wind
Hmm.
Waker Toon Link hat. It
Okay.
would only make sense if it's Eslo if he's actually wearing Eslo the whole time.
Well, funny story about that.
What?
A lot of my Toon Link, at least in this pre-production, is wearing Eslo the whole time.
See, that's kind of something that I feel like should be led with because I know with my Toon Link, I watched Let's Plays of Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, and Spirit Tracks, and good God, they were whew,
I'm sorry
struggles to
that you
get
had
through.
to do that to yourself, especially for Phantom Hourglass.
Yeah, not great.
Okay.
Not
Yeah, I would have led
great.
with it and given you some sort of leeway, but I only thought of it
Just
recently.
now,
No, actually, about let's see, when did I do
what,
this?
5 minutes ago?
6 days ago
Right.
from the time of recording. Yeah. That's
Here's how we'll say this. Depending on how the moveset comes up, he may or may not be wearing Eslo.
okay. That's fair. Sounds good.
All right, so now that we've got
You
the potential rule set there for the Kirby hat, we'll see kind of how his moveset goes. Whether it's going to be Eslo or it's going to be the classic hat. Let's see what our taunts are going to be like moving forwards.
okay?
What do
Shucky
you
ducky.
have for us?
Okay, so I've classified these up taunt, side taunt, down taunt as I usually do, but they don't need to necessarily be there if we decide on something else.
Of course.
So for the up taunt, however, this is one of those situations where I'm like, you know what, we can keep it as is because it's the Wind Waker. He uses the Wind Waker. He's happy. It makes a little sound. But you see it in the actual Smash Brothers game, so you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah, and that's my boring thing.
See, I considered keeping that one as well, but I was looking at all the animations for Toon Link, and I saw so he's got the Wind Waker using as a pawn for both a taunt and a victory animation. Well, that's just
Sure,
stupid. So I cut it from his taunts. It's
that's
like
true.
we don't need that in two spots. Fuck that.
Hmm.
But instead, for my first taunt, I had that Toon Link will take out the deluxe Pictobox camera, and he's actually going to hold it
Oh.
up in front of himself and taking a picture of himself mid battle with a wide ass cheesy grin on his face. Not quite how
Oh man.
Tingle expected that camera to be used, but hey,
Oh, it would only be better if Lenzo materialized behind him to surprise him
I don't
and
know who
make
that
him
is, but
scared.
okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Lenzo has no place here until we make a moveset of him for himself.
Pretty sure that'll never happen.
In episode 962,
If
anything's
we get
possible.
to episode 962, I want one of our no visitors, because nobody watches this shit. I want one of our non-existent viewers to kill me.
You know, they've recently rebooted The Invisible Man. So,
Yeah, in the same
anything's
universe
possible.
as The Mummy with Tom Cruise. Yay.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Mr. Cruz, what is your greatest fear? I don't remember the
The
rest of that
fall of
line.
Scientology.
Oh boy. Just wait until we talk about Lord Xenu episode 1062.
Fuck.
It'll be a good time.
Anyways, your next taunt, sir.
My next taunt, sir. May I take your taunt, sir? Is gonna depend. Actually, I don't have anything else written down. Whoops. So
Then just say it.
okay, my next taunt, which I've designated as a side taunt, but who really cares, is where Toon Link takes his hat off of his head because the hat is Eslo, and Eslo yammers at him about something, and Toon Link looks a little bashful, and you know because Eslo's like, "Ah, blah, 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 blah," and that's kind of his character in the Minish Cap.
Well,
Um,
I'll say
yep.
this. Just because when he's in his basic running, we just see him on his model. Just because the hat looks what it might look like his normal hat doesn't mean this taunt can't still happen. And when he takes off the hat, then you see Ezlo's head, face, beak, whatever the hell you want to call that, appear out of the top of the hat.
That's true. And actually, I think that may be how they actually do it in the Minish Cap. So that might be even appropriate to canon.
Which means that
So
Kirby hat would be regular hat.
yeah, I guess it can be. What
The
if we have a
little
green
fingers.
Kirby face on the hat?
That's weird.
Yeah, I'll leave that. I mean, we're recording at 4 a.m., so.
Yeah, seriously. Jesus.
Which means it's 6 a.m. for you, which means that you didn't get any sleep, but
No,
oh
I did
well.
not.
Sorry to keep you up.
Uh-huh. So my side taunt is just the same basic one that he's already got. He puts his sword and shield away, and then a fairy will fly around his head as he watches in wonder.
Yeah, that works too. And again, we see it in the game.
Yes.
So badoom badoom. So my next taunt, my final taunt, is using another instrument. Toon Link retrieves the spirit flute from Spirit Tracks and plays the opening few keys off of the Spirit Tracks main theme before putting it away. You know, like
I
and
don't, but sure.
yeah, huzzah! It's essentially the same thing that you hear in the opening few seconds of the title screen.
I do not remember, but all right.
I vaguely remember, so it's okay.
My final taunt, it's again just one of the ones pulled straight from the game. He starts swinging his smash sword around in a frenzied panic, gets exhausted, and he just leans over to catch his breath.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I pretty much just for the taunts, I actually for the victory poses as well. I only changed one of them, and I kept two of the other same ones. I didn't want to change too much of that because I felt like the taunts and victory poses we already have, they're pretty fucking good.
Yeah, they are. There's pigs.
Some characters have shit taunts and victory poses, but Toon Links I actually really like.
Yeah, me too. Again, there's pigs.
Right.
They're
So
fun.
as always, before we go ahead and decide on the taunts, we move on to our victory poses to see what we have for them. What is your first victory pose for us?
My first victory pose is taken from Smash, where Toon Link comes in and he chases the pig. And he catches. I wrote it down that he chases and catches the pig, but also they're both such similar taunts to where he either does or does not catch it, and if he doesn't catch it, he falls on his butt.
Yep.
To where maybe they could be transmuted into a singular victory pose slot if we were feeling zesty, and just be like one or the other can happen.
I don't feel like that'd be having a that makes no sense. No.
Okay.
That's two
Maybe
different victory poses. That you can't make those
True.
be. Oh, maybe sometimes one happens, sometimes the other happens. No, like that's two different. That's two different animations.
Well, sometimes. What if Toon Link appeared next to Chrome?
What if he didn't?
Okay. Yeah, that's
So
true. In that case, it's you catching the pig.
I have a similar. I have one of the pig ones as well, except mine is the one where he fails because I think it's funnier to see him fall on his ass.
My thought process was it's like when I was choosing between the two to include, I was like, okay, but one is actually victorious. But what
True.
does it matter?
True. That is a fair point.
Mm-hmm.
So
But who cares?
so we each have a pig victory pose. What is
Mm-hmm.
your second victory pose?
Okay, my second victory pose involves the spirit flute again, where Toon Link plays a zesty number on the spirit flute, and I don't know which one it wants to be. I'd assume something from the game, maybe the same theme taunt potentially if we keep the taunt. Except as a difference, when Toon Link is playing the spirit flutes, Nico is there in his old man form from Spirit Tracks, cheering him on. And when he finishes the spirit flute song, Nico claps for him, and they both smile.
So you're using the spirit flute twice.
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the next one I have is another one pulled straight from Smash. It's where he pulls out the Wind Waker. I mentioned it earlier, and starts using it like a baton to conduct the sound to his own victory theme.
Yeah.
And it ends with the pose
Nice.
that's the Wind Waker classic pose with the actual Wind Waker. So
Oh, we can use the flutes in the same way then and play it to the victory pose. That's a good idea.
it would make more sense.
Yeah. Nice.
So what is your final victory pose?
My final victory pose is dependent on if we actually no, because we're walking back on that. So my next victory pose is Eslo is used again, incorporated again, where he begins chanting as Toon Link and him are on a magic tree stump. And as they're standing on the stump, Toon Link becomes very small and they descend into it. So basically, Minish Cap. And if you don't like too many Minish Cap references, I also have another ton. Yeah.
I mean, if you've got another idea, go ahead and throw it at us.
All right. So Toon Link uses a telescope, preferably the one from the Wind Waker, and he's looking at it, looking around in every which direction. He points off into the distance with an excited smile when he sees something. You don't quite know what it is. Maybe a seagull sound goes off or something. And potentially, because Nico is used in one victory pose, I have Linebeck in this pose, who's smirking next to Link with an unfurled map.
Interesting. My final victory pose is also from Phantom Hourglass.
Oh my.
So in this one, envision this for me.
Okay.
You see Link.
Yeah.
Sat down next to a small pond. He's facing, to where you would see the side of his face, and he's fishing. And in this victory pose, we see the fishing pole start to jerk in his hands as if, oh shit, he's about to catch something. Link pulls back on the fishing rod, revealing the skippyjack fish, and he's just got this big ol' happy as hell grin on his face.
Nice. It's good to pull something positive from Phantom Hourglass.
Yes, one of the few things.
Now, is there a potential?
What?
Since this isn't really changing the animation, is there a potential to grab an egg instead of the skippyjack fish?
Why would he grab an egg?
I've been grabbing eggs out of the water all day.
Ah, Animal Crossing joke. Gotcha.
Yep.
I hear you. Okay. Well, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Now, if we do a redux on Isabelle, that's possible one day.
True.
Or maybe a Tom Nook.
True.
But for
Good
now,
old Tom.
For now, we need to now pare down our taunts and our victory poses for Toon Link to figure out what we're actually going to be using.
True.
So something that I'm going to say that I feel very strongly about is I do feel like either as a taunt or as a victory pose, the Wind Waker needs to be in there.
Agreed. And I have thoughts on that too. After discussing this, I actually think that it might be better as a victory pose, just because it's such an iconic design to aesthetic to have the Wind Waker and Toon Link together and using it in that sense. So maybe having it as a victory pose on a victory screen would leave more of a lasting impression than a small taunt.
I agree.
Okay, then I guess we have our first victory pose.
All right.
Nice. Okay.
So let's see here. What do we want to do with these other ones? I like your Eslo taunt. I like that.
Okay.
I feel like that one could actually pretty easily take the position of the wild swinging of the sword.
Oh, because they both have that kind of same humorous
exactly
thing going on for them. Okay. Yeah, if you want to go that way, then we can.
Okay, so Link taking Eslo off of his head, the hat now becomes Eslo, and it's just like chastising Link's like, you idiot, why are you fighting like this? Like it's got that kind of attitude to it. There's no voice lines to it, but that's kind of like the feel you get from the animation.
Exactly.
I feel like that's a good taunt.
It is. Hooray. I came up with it.
True. Do you want to do one of the spirit flute taunts?
Yeah, so interesting. I feel like if we're using this is just my initial thought process, feel free to abate me for it,
Mm-hmm.
is that the spirit flutes, since we have the Wind Waker in
Yep.
one victory pose, we probably should use the spirit flute taunt as a victory pose.
Really, I thought it'd be a
And I
taunt
don't
itself as well. Because I had an interesting idea.
really.
What if this taunt isn't just a 5 second he plays a few notes taunt? What if this taunt is he actually as long as you're holding down the buttons for the taunt, he will continue to play this one tune as long as it takes until either you stop or he gets hit by something.
Oh,
Which tune it would be, I don't know because I'm not very familiar with them. But I think that'd
mhm.
be a fun little unique thing that you could do for a taunt that no other character has.
I think generally speaking, maybe it could be the main theme jingle from Spirit Tracks, but you can also get cheeky, have a couple of the songs in there. Maybe every so often, rarely, he could play something cheeky like the Super Mario Brothers song. You're
Probably stick
like,
with the Spirit Track theme.
yeah, you're like, that sounds dumb.
I mean,
Let's move on.
I wouldn't call it dumb. It's an idea, but
Hmm.
we're already adding the complexity to it of this is a taunt that could last potentially forever. Adding an RNG to that mm, is
All right.
possible.
Okay. I'll go with you on this. Yeah, actually, I'll reverse my opinion, uh, and say it should be a taunt.
Okay, so we have two taunts and one victory pose. We
Hmm.
would have one of the pigs as a victory pose for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
which one do we want?
I feel like because we're having the Wind Waker be a successful victory pose, if you felt strongly about having it be Toon Link falling over because it's funny, we can afford it.
I think we could go either way with it. I think they're
Hmm.
both great options. Either he successfully catches a pig and holds it aloft above his head, or he fails and trips on his ass. I think both are great victory poses. There's a reason both already exist.
Hmm.
Uh,
That's true.
I mean, I like the falling his ass one because it's funny, but the other one is also amusing in its own way.
That's true because rarely would anybody actually hold a pig that way.
True.
So ah, it's hard because they're both so similar, and they're both actually in the main game too. But we already have the Wind Waker as a victory pose. So do we have all three slots just the same as Smash?
I don't think so.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, me neither. Me neither. Just begged the question. Ah, difficult. Difficult, difficult. Do you have any initial thoughts on which one?
Here, okay. Let me put it this way. I'm feeling the one where he falls because we can make the third victory pose be the spyglass,
Okay. That sounds
which
good.
is
I'm
another triumphant one, and that one's also a short would be a shorter animation than the Skippy Jack one I proposed, and it also gets to bring in show Linebeck a little bit of love there.
all right. Maybe Linebeck can be holding a Skippy Jack and be eating it.
That would be weird.
It would be.
I'm not sure where that would make
So
any sense.
it wouldn't. Well, a man's got to eat.
Eh.
Anyway,
So we've got
I
our
was
three victory
joking.
poses. We've got the spyglass, we've got the wind wicker, and we've got tripping over his ass trying to catch a pig. Taunt
Yep.
wise, we have Eslo chastising Link, and we have the long play with the spirit flute, but we still need our third taunt. The
Right.
other ones I had written down were the deluxe picto box, and then the fairy flying above his head. What were yours again?
Ooh. Mine were the spirit flute and Eslo, which we both already have, and then just the Wind Waker taunt, which I feel we can chuck.
Yeah.
So we're choosing between yours here, boy.
If we're choosing between my two, oh, man, this actually kind of sucks.
I do
Uh,
have a lean, but I want to hear your thoughts first.
so I like the deluxe picto box because it gets to add a little bit of fun to it. And it's something that you don't actually get to see Toon Link do ever. Taking a picture of himself, what? He's being a kid when he's doing that. It's funny, but the fairy
Yeah.
thing fairies are very synonymous with the Zelda franchise. They're everywhere. And while there's
Mhm.
not a fairy for a Wind Waker, fairies are very important in Phantom Hourglass.
That's true. Uh, Conversely, however, fairies are important in a few games in the series, like for instance, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. So if we do not use the fairy taunt here, say we visit Young Link in the future, we can easily give it to Young Link. Whereas the Picto Box is exclusive to Toon Link, and also gives the Wii U version of the a little bit of love because that was a feature in that game.
True enough.
Hmm. So my initial lean is the opposite of yours. I'm kind of thinking Picto Box, but if you're thinking Fairy, I see it as a valid point, and they're your taunts too. So I think you're the tiebreaker.
I mean, I'm good to go with Pick Box. Plus, I have a different way to try and include a fairy later on.
No,
And
don't
it's
tell me
something
that
that
the
I am
Tinkle Brothers are in here.
quite excited to talk about.
Nice. Okay, in that case, it sounds like we have our taunts and victory pose.
Alright, so the taunts locked in. We've got the deluxe Picto Box. We've got Eslo chastising. And then we also have. Shit. What was the
The
third one? I
Spirit
forgot.
Flutes.
Spirit Flute. Oh my god, yes. Hey, 6 a.m. This is what
Yeah,
happens.
I know. I know.
And then our
The
victory
crack
poses
of dawn.
are the Wind Waker, the Pig Chase, and the Spyglass animations.
Yeah.
Those are some pretty solid ones, I feel like.
Yeah, this is an exciting episode for me. I feel the wind in my bones.
I think that means you have a bad knee.
And I've awoken from the wind.
Your persona is awoken?
Yeah, and my persona is Toon Link.
Oh, well, yeah, it's better than Lineback.
That yeah, Lineback would be a likely persona if there were a weird crossover like that.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So, it's time to get into the meat of the move set. And by that, I do mean the moves.
I thought you were gonna say I do mean the meat and then present meat based option.
Yeah, we're actually going to be playing as Bacon Link. He is made out of bacon.
Cool. The ones that you're
And
leaving in your walls. Nice.
When Wario uses the bite attack on him, like he's actually dead.
What, did you just delete him from the roster after that?
Yes.
Okay, that's a bold choice, and I think that's going to pay off.
I do too.
Good.
So let's actually get
But for Toon Link,
to their special moves now.
hmm
I'll go ahead and lead off here on this one.
Okay.
A couple of mine I just kept either the same or I just barely twisted them. But then the other ones I decided like, you know what? There's some cooler things that we can do here. So for the standard special, I am keeping as the hero's bow, but here's where it's interesting.
Ooh, boy.
So you can either press B to just fire a standard arrow, just like Toon Link already does, or you can hold down B to charge up an arrow, just like Toon Link already does. But what if you're charging down an arrow and you tap up on the control pad? Oh, now it's a fire arrow. What if you tap down on the control? Well, I'm saying control pad. I mean the control stick. Your directional,
Hmm.
however you're using the move. If you tap
Hmm.
down, now it's an ice arrow.
Nice.
No shock arrows or any of that. Just the fire and ice. I thought that would be, it's still the bow and arrow, which is the most next to his sword and shield, Link's most standard weapon, the bow and arrow. And I figured I like to keep this on Toon Link, but let's mix it up. Let's give him the
Hmm.
option of the fire arrow or the ice arrow, something that
Yeah.
even young Link didn't have or doesn't have rather.
Yeah.
That's what I have
Wow.
on the standard special.
That's a good incorporation
Thank you.
because let me tell you. So I first of all just framing it in mind here. So you're saying you would press the standard special button, and then as you're holding it,
yes.
okay, and then would that change the direction of the arrow as well, or would it
No.
select a different arrow? Okay,
It-
cool.
Flicking the stick
yep.
up or down only changes what kind of arrow it's going to be.
Got it. Okay, that's cool. In that case, I know how I'm going to change things up on the fly a little bit because my idea was very similar. Because I was like, okay, we can have the magic arrows in to fire and ice, just the same standard idea that I had to. to differentiate. Except I had
Nice.
allotted it to I had allotted arrow swap special skill to switch between arrows.
Ah,
But so I'm going to keep it that way. But using your directional input, I am now going to say that you can hold the standard special button and then tilt up or tilt down to change the direction of the arrows, and as you use the extra skill to swap between them.
gotcha. And even though we're not at the extra skill, I'm going to go ahead and ask about this. Can you only swap between fire and ice? Or do you have other kinds of arrows that you could swap between?
I was thinking only fire and ice, but then again, if we're dedicating it to a whole special skill, I can see at least including shock too. I would say light, but I feel like light is more Zelda's thing.
Fair?
So let's just say on my end, fire, ice, and shock.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So, you ready for my side special, the move that I am the most excited about on this whole thing?
Oh yeah.
So this move comes out of Phantom Hourglass.
Whew, boy.
When I was watching the Let's Play of Phantom Hourglass, I was just like, okay, so this is all pretty basic. There's nothing really special here. And then late game, you get the hammer. But in Phantom
Hammer.
Hourglass, Link doesn't use the hammer himself.
Mm-hmm.
In Phantom Hourglass, Link has a fairy known as Ciela, who is joining him on his adventure. Ciela wields the hammer. I love this idea. I saw it in practice on this game, and it's like, oh my god, that I have to have this. This is so incredible. So I'm calling this move Ciela's Hammer.
Oh,
And how I'm envisioning this is when you activate the side special, if you just flick it and go ahead and just use it, Ciela just appears in front of Toon Link and just does a single whack with the hammer. Pretty damn boring. But if you actually move it forwards with the side with the control stick, you can have Ciela go out farther away, kind of like Greninja's Shadow Sneak attack, except you can see Ciela flying across the screen. And when you let go, when you stop and she's actually attacking, it's no longer just one swing of the hammer. She stays in place and does several swings coming at it from different directions on that spot. If nobody's there, nobody gets hurt. But if somebody is right there, they're being hit a lot.
Nice.
I love the idea. I saw the move in the game. It's like, this is perfect. This is the best thing to come out of Phantom Hourglass. By far.
Oh, by far. By far. Wow. That's pretty cool. So I, of course, did not think of that because I did not pay much heed to Phantom Hourglass foolishly. Oh, I do. I do suck. That's why most of my taunts and victory poses were used. But for my side special, it was just the Skull Hammer, which now feels very basic. Yep, I will admit that. I suck in this instance.
Skull Hammer was on my short list of moves, but I was just like, Ciela's Hammer is so much better. Why would I do the Skull Hammer?
Yeah. So the Skull Hammer, you know how Link uses it in Wind Waker. You saw the Let's Play where he slams it into the ground. I would imagine that you can squish opponents into the floor for a couple seconds as a funny little thing, or just make them daze for a while with a full swing of it that's charged. But overall, now that I think about it, you can still use the Skull Hammer in a Toon Link moveset while also having Ciela's Hammer.
It could be a side smash.
Yeah, exactly. You relegate it to standard moves.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you can even get cute if you wanted to and use a what was the Project Hammer reference and have his new side dash be him swirling the hammer around or something.
I have no idea what you mean, but okay.
Oh,
I'm not familiar with Project Hammer. I know vaguely what you're referring to, a game idea that got canned, but I don't know anything about what it actually was.
Okay. Yeah. It's kind of like a Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Yeah. But, probably sucky, and that's why I got canceled.
Probably.
Hey, that's something that Project Hammer and I have in common.
That you got canceled?
Per the lore. No, that we suck, but that we got canceled maybe. I don't know. I haven't gotten canceled yet. Somewhere along the way when we hit episode 962, though.
The botchling episode?
There's some things that I've said after that that we've mercifully cut.
Oh, from the
That
Lost episode that never got aired. There's reasons for that episode not being aired. What
mostly having to do with
one
arms being
day,
revealed.
one day we'll talk about that episode, but not today. Not today.
Maybe when we actually do get hundreds of episodes in,
Like that'll ever happen. But
we'll be in our 40s.
yeah, yeah. To continue though, for the up special, I just have spin attack. I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
think of anything that was really more fitting,
Mm-hmm.
or that I really like better than what we already have. So I was just like, fuck it. He can keep spin attack on my list. What about you?
I understand that. For me, I have two options here.
Go for it.
I'll go with the more generalized option here that's similar to yours, which is the hurricane spin.
Okay.
So it's basically the spin attack, but you can charge it more so than Toon Links can be charged already. So when you charge this attack, if you charge it to its full extent, and you'll hear a little shine go off or something to let you know, you will be able to have Toon Link navigate the stage while spinning. So you can like a very clumsy and wild ballerina using his sword going ah and spinning anywhere you tilt the directional stick on the floor. You can go left or right with it. But I had another idea potentially in air, where you can mix it with a little ballad of Gale's action and have a tornado actually appear around him. But I feel like that's too much. But incorporating the hurricane spin into the ground movement of Toon Link will give him more options to play the field while also keeping it pretty standard to what we would expect out of him already. Otherwise, my other idea was to incorporate the Deku Leaf, of course, because that's pretty standard too. But in this sense, my only thing against the Deku Leaf is that it wouldn't be a very uh, forward move as far as attack goes. It's more about getting air. So he uses it. He's holding on to both sides, puffs way up into the air, has a lot more lateral movement or vertical movement rather than he would with just the spin attack or the hurricane spin. And he can glide with it. So that's the utilitarian standpoint for that. And potentially can use it to glide even if it's not the up special. Also, but if you press the special attack button, press the B button in midair, Toon Link will cancel his gliding or cancel his puffing up in the air and use the Deku Leaf to release a powerful gust of wind that'll charge forward and it'll push him back a little bit too. So that could be used as a weird recovery technique while also pushing the gust forward. And while it won't deal a lot of damage, it will push opponents a fair distance back. There we go.
Now I have some questions for you on the hurricane spin.
Sure.
So you're saying that you can charge it. I'm assuming, much like Toon Link already can do his spin attack in Smash, he can only charge it
Sure.
on the ground and not in the
Mm-hmm.
air. Okay. So you're saying that if it's a bit of a buff. Well, it's completely a buff really. If you fully charge it up, then he can not just spin in place, but you can run about left and right to a limited degree to try and get other people into the attack a little bit better.
Right. And also afterwards, if you actually bring it up to the full extent, he'll probably be dizzy for a couple seconds just to reflect, just to be fair, while also reflecting what happens in the Wind Waker Hurricane Spin.
Okay, that makes sense to
It's
me.
it's what you get from Orca when you get him all of the seals.
Right. And then
Mm-hmm.
I think a tornado can work when you're in the air already when you use moves, not when you're on the ground. You could say that this a whirlwind, more like a cyclone that just completely centered on him, uh, whirls around for a
Yeah.
brief couple seconds, damaging anybody right there, above and below
Mm-hmm.
him, as it carries him up a little bit higher than the spin attack normally would.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That would work.
Yeah, the
That would
tornado
work.
vanishes quickly, like before he's done doing the attack regularly.
That's a good
It's
idea. And
essentially how you say that he's propelling himself upwards.
okay, that works. Like a thinner tornado, so it's not going to be OP, which was what I was worried
It's
about.
barely wider than Toon Link is what I'm thinking.
That'll work. That'll work. And would it reach the entirety of the vertical
No,
landscape of the
God no,
stage?
God no.
Okay.
It
Okay.
would be
In,
maybe like a Toon like triple his height, but centered on him. So there's like a Toon Link above and below him of wind.
okay, that works. I like that. So we do have three options to choose from though for the up special.
We do, but let's see what else we come up with first because my down special is actually
Hmm.
the Deku Leaf. Used a
Nice.
little bit differently than yours.
Hmm.
You know how we both complained several times before about how, oh my god, why do all of these characters have counters? Ugh, blah,
Hmm.
counters and reflectors. I like twisting them up. You've seen how I've twisted up a few in the past, both here on the podcast and just in other Smashtopia articles. I like to
Hmm.
it, where counters are appropriate. I have no problem putting in a counter, but I like to argue why it exists and to sometimes give it a unique flavor. And I have the
Yeah.
Deku Leaf as a perfect piece for that. The Deku Leaf itself does not necessarily counter anything. The Deku
Hmm.
Leaf, you just see Toon Link with this gigantic leaf, swing it in front of him. If he's in the air when he does this, then it will push him backwards a little bit, kind of like what you mentioned
Yeah.
already. But if he's just on the ground, well, I guess either way, if he's just on the ground, he doesn't move. But either way, a circular puff of wind will be fired out of the Deku Leaf. It's not. I would say it's more like at a medium speed of sorts. But if this
Hmm.
wind encounters a physical projectile, either like a thrown weapon or an arrow shot from somebody's bow or what have you, it will collide with the object and it will throw it back at whoever sent it. So this is a ranged projectile deflector.
Ooh.
The only other character
And
that
we
comes
don't got
close to
that
having
up.
a ranged projector or having a ranged reflector is Falco. No other character has that.
Hmm. And this one
It
seems like it
completely
has more uses than Falco.
right. It completely stops once it's hit something. It doesn't keep going at that point. But if it does hit another character before it can reflect anything, it will deal a minuscule amount of damage, as well as pushing them back a little bit.
Right. Nice. That's a inventive way to approach the Deku Leaf.
I think so.
I am. I appreciate that. My down special is I had two ideas here. Uh the first is extremely similar to yours,
Nice.
actually, in that it has the same function, but it's the gust jar instead of the uh Deku Leaf. Or I was like, oh, or we can suck people in and spit them out like King DDD's standard special.
Which game is the
Uh
Gust Star in?
Minish Cap. Minish Cap.
Okay, that's why.
Yeah.
So
And then
I had remembered you talking about it years and years ago, but I was just like, I don't see it in these games. Where is this thing?
yeah. So it's for Minish Cap, but now that I think about it more, the gust jar, if we do incorporate it, and it's probably not really going to be said because we don't do standard moves, but it could be a grab. It could easily be a grab,
Yeah.
or the whip from Spirit Tracks could be a grab, or they can both be used in the stand. There's so many
Or,
things you can do
the
with
hook
Toon
shot
Link.
that he actually has.
Yeah, that's true too. Don't want to give Spirit Tracks too much credit. But I do. My other idea was from Spirit Tracks.
What is it?
So the Sand Wand.
Ah.
Yeah, so Toon Link grasps the sand wand and summons a pillar of sand directly in front of him. It could be used defensively, like it'll block a couple of attacks, similar to the Villager's Tree, or he can jump on top of it and use it as a platform to raise himself higher up. Like if you're using a bow and arrow and you're putting a directional output, that would be a good combination to jump on top of a sand column and then be able to directionally input a downward arrow shot or something similar to, or something like that. Or you can just use it to get more air when you're using a spin attack or a hurricane spin, for instance.
Right.
So there's that, more of a more of a pedestrian in the sense that it doesn't really hurt anybody, but it's also innovative in the sense that it's a utility move. And there's not really too many of those across the Smash spectrum.
There really aren't. We've discussed a few of them a few times, but
Hmm.
they're not easy to incorporate necessarily.
Right, right.
Now I have a few
The
questions for
only
you about the sand rod.
sure,
First of all, how long does it last until it crumbles away?
I would say a handful of seconds
Okay.
tops.
What if a water or ice-based attack was to make contact with the sand pillar? Would anything different happen? And
That's
it's
true. It would probably dissolve the sand pillar.
really? I thought it'd make it
I
more
don't know. Is
solid.
that? Oh, really? Is that where you're
Water and
going?
ice
Okay.
against sand?
True, because sand gets very damp and
Compacts.
and thick. Right. So it compact and then unintentionally make it more of a defense mechanism.
Which would be an interesting
So
combo in tag team matches.
that's true. I know. I just don't have too much experience with sand living out in Arizona.
I mean, it's coarse, irritating, and it gets everywhere.
I know that you're spoiling the next character we're gonna do.
Anakin Skywalker?
Yes,
Oh, shit.
specifically from Phantom Menace.
Oh.
Anakin riding Jar Jar's shoulders.
Why? No. So, before I mention that, it sounded like you were about to say something else about the sand rod.
Right. The only thing that I could say against it is that it appears in other games.
Fair.
So if you approach it from, oh, all these items, the Deku Leaf, the Ciela's Hammer, the Magic Arrow, whatever, they're all pretty um, either unique to or iconic towards Toon Link's titles. But the Sand Rod's also in
Link Between Worlds.
A Link Between Worlds, for instance. Yeah. So there's always that, and it's in Link's Away as well,
You could say
I
it could be
believe.
part of a Ravio
So
moveset.
that's also true. So that's the only thing that's really standing against it
Mm,
is that other characters can use it, and it would make sense to put them in at least two or three other characters' movesets.
gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
All
Final Smash.
right then. Let's get to our final smashes. So, I don't think that the Triforce Slash is necessarily a bad idea. I think it's a
Mm-hmm.
great final smash, and if we were to say make a bunch of different movesets for a bunch of different kinds of links, I want the Triforce Slash to be somewhere. But I don't think it
Right.
necessarily needs to be on Toon Link. I think there's multiple things that you can do here, but the one I came up with was taken from Spirit Tracks. You know me. I like to try and when I'm taking ideas from different things, I like to try and incorporate something from everything when possible.
Mm-hmm.
So for this final smash, I call it all aboard. So this is going to
Oh.
be another cinematic final smash. I know we've talked about there's too many of these, but sometimes it's just fucking fitting.
Mm-hmm.
So for this one, the way it's going to be triggered is the conductor part of the train, like the front part of it, which will appear in front of Toon Link. It'll do a short dash forwards, and any opponents hit by that will go into the cinematic, where Toon Link will be on the train conducting it. There's going to be a couple cars behind. Alfonso will be there with him on the train, and they're just going to ram into that player and send them flying. It's very similar to Captain Falcon's Blue Falcon, except it's just a train instead of the Blue Falcon. But I
So,
felt it
frankly, it's
worked.
far superior.
If you want to say that, sure, you could say that.
Now, is Alfonso going to appear in Captain Falcon's Final Smash? Oh, no? Okay.
No.
Oh, man. That was good. Um, so I had a bit of a conniption regarding my Final Smash because I had four ideas.
Oh God.
And now I'm going to remove one of them at the very least because it's the Hurricane Spin. So let's toss that because that's already a convincing up special pitch. And let's say I have three. And then let's say, oh, two of these things are extremely similar. So we're going to get to those in a second. Firstly, I'm going to pull from another one of Toon Link's games that you were very proud about at the beginning of this podcast because you're like, hey, it came out first. The
Triforce
yacht.
Heroes?
Triforce Heroes did not come out first, but yeah, Four Swords.
Oh, four swords.
Yeah, so
Yes.
as you may imagine, he has the Force Sword and uses it and splits into four separate Toon Links. And I've been thinking about how to activate this. I think the easiest way is to make it a play on Triforce,
That's what I was
where
thinking.
yeah, using that beam from his hand and drawing people into it, and then, but then from all four sides, like diagonally, like an X, which makes some sort of Smash Brothers esque sense too, since the Japanese title is something like Dairanto Smaburuken Cross. That would work. Where they all come in from an X, and then their swords. There's a little bit of a slow mo motion as all of the Toon Links are together, making the same motion, holding their sword back, the four sword, and then slashing forward, and all having a flurry of sword attacks at the opponents caught in that initial beam. So there's that. And then my second idea,
Before you move on to that one, I
yeah,
have a couple questions.
sure.
Is this a cinematic Final Smash, or is this Triforce Slash, except it's the four swords links all attack instead of just one link
Right.
attacking?
I was thinking Triforce, but links,
Okay,
personally speaking, just because as a cinematic, I guess there's a way to make that work, but I don't think it's necessarily needed.
I agree.
Uh, so my second idea is either, depending on where you want to reference, because it's the same idea. So essentially, it's Toon Link incorporates multiple tornadoes, and this could be a cinematic where something like that thin tornado that we're talking about for the hurricane spin comes in, and any opponent's locked up, and that gets tossed into a cinematic where they're on, say, the pirate ship or lineback ship, and a bunch of tornadoes come swirling in at once, and it's essentially the Ballad of Gales, unless you wanted to use the Cyclone Slate for it, and that would just be that's a wholly aesthetic. I'm kind of leaning Ballad of Gales because we can have.
I agree.
I'm off the top of my head, I can't recall, but first of all, it uses the Wind Waker. You can actually use the Ballad of Gales composition, so I'm convincing myself as I go along. So, I forget the name of one of those Frog brothers but whoever dishes, the rowdy one that dishes out the hurricane spin, he can be in the background. He can have a little cameo, and he can be out on the Great Sea, on the pirate ship or the King of Red Lions or what have you, and then the opponents can look on in terror and be swept up in it. So, and Toon Link, he'll be fine because he uses that to get up.
Naturally.
So, Ballad of Gales and Four Swords were my two ideas, and then yours was All Aboard,
Yes.
which was something. What? So, cool.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
I don't. No, it's a. I say it like it's a predetermined decision.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So before we can go ahead and figure out what all the moves are going to be, extra skill time. Now you've already
Yep.
said that yours is going to be pair with the hero's bow, and how you can swap between the fire, ice, or shock arrows.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there anything else you wanted to add on that before I reveal my extra skill?
Yeah, I think it's funny that in Link's Awakening you can make the choo-choos talk.
Okay.
But in Wind Waker,
Well,
the choo-choos make funnier sounds.
we're not talking about Toy Link today. We're talking about Toon Link.
Oh yeah, but in choo-choos you can make potions in the
This,
Wind
this
Waker.
is not this is not the Zelda game that looks like a Fisher Price toy. This is the Zelda game that looks like a WB cartoon.
In the Wind Waker, the choo-choos are like,
They're really kind of weird.
yeah.
But my extra skill is going to be where he utilizes the mirror shield.
Oh.
So in Wind Waker, the mirror shield is used to reflect light and shine light in different areas, and it can even damage some enemies. And some enemies
Nice.
can only be damaged by the mirror shield. And I figured that's kind of cool. How can I use this in Smash? And then I remembered in Smash 4, one of Palutena's custom moves was Heavenly Light, where she casts this gigantic field of light around her, And enemies, if they're in this field, will take constant damage, but they'll take 0 knockback. So they can run
Mhm.
around in it, be totally fine. They're just racking up damage. So I thought, what if the mirror shield takes that similar property? You can, with the control stick, you can adjust where you're shining it. But anybody that is within the field of range for this move, it's going to be more like a beam that kind of peters out as it gets further on. They're taking constant
Nice.
damage. They can still
Hmm.
move. They can do whatever they want, but as they are in that beam, they are taking damage, just no knockback.
Cool. I like it. And I had it. I had it in my notes too. It's just like we can use the mirror shield just to differentiate Toon Link in terms of aesthetic, and not have him just use the hero shield from the start of the Wind Waker. And we can still do that, but then have it be incorporated in that sense for the extra skill. So that would be cool. I would like to, just for the sake of conversation, raise another idea that I have extra skill, just so we have it there.
Go for it.
Um, the Cane of Pachi from the Minish Cap,
Okay.
which so the Cane of Pachi is a very interesting item.
Is that the one that
Never,
just flips objects upside down?
yes.
God damn
So
it.
you use the Cane of you use the Cane of Pachi too. You if there's anyone directly adjacent to Toon Link on either side when he uses the Cane of Pachi, the beams will come out of the Cane of Pachi, both behind and in front of Toon Link, and flip them over and make them trip. And that's very standard. But if they use a projectile
That's
per
actually kind of
se,
like Mewtwo's side special.
yeah. But if they use a projectile per se, their move will be deflected back at them, or even deflected upwards. So, and items, it'll do what it actually does in the Minish Cap and just flip them over on their head.
Okay.
And yeah, that's about it.
All right. Well, now it's time to actually figure out what we are using. First
Oh
things
god.
first, I think for the up special, it's the hurricane spin, right?
Agreed.
I think
Agreed.
that's a very easy one to go with. The
Hmm.
Niku Leaf one that you had isn't a bad idea, but I really
Hmm.
like Hurricane Spin for this Toon Link.
I agree. It's a way for it to be distinctly Toon Link while also not straying too much from what we already know.
Right.
Hmm. What's next on the agenda?
I think we need to figure out how we're going to do the standard special. Is it Hero's Bow or is it Hero's Bow?
I think it's gonna be the bow from the first Legend of Zelda.
I I don't know what that would be
I
different.
don't know. It's just a bow.
Okay. But
Okay.
but I more mean which mechanics for the Hero's Bow are we going to be using? Are we going to use yours where you're bundling in the extra skill? Or are we going to be using mine where you can just, you don't get to change the direction of the arrow, but with a flick of the control stick, you can change what kind of arrow is going to be used?
Right. If we go with mine, and I'm not saying we will,
Mm-hmm.
I know another way that we can use the mirror shield perchance, but it might be a little random and errant. It's that when Toon Link crouches, he holds his shield in front of him.
He
So
does.
you can make it so when he crouches, that's when the mirror shield is activated. It's like a random thing. Random thing. But it
I
could
mean,
it could
if he's just holding the mirror shield and it's not do anything, that's not. He can
Mhm.
just have that be. But I don't think we should give him an extra attack that happens when he's crouching. That seems a bit much.
Right. Right. Although I think that that's the thing, because as far as the extra skills themselves go, I do quite like your mirror shield.
Me too.
So I'm kind of leaning mirror shield extra skill, and then just having it be your way for the magic arrow incorporation,
Okay.
because the shock arrows are cool, not necessarily needed. Might make things a little too intricate, not necessarily, but yeah, they just aren't needed per se, and they also cast a wide field in Wind Waker,
Yeah.
so they might be a little overpowered if you want them to be as they are in the game. So, and plus, you don't need the directional output. That's more pitch thing. So I'm feeling your hero's board
It's
integration.
like we don't want everybody who has a bow to be able to do the same things with that bow, because otherwise,
Yeah,
where's the uniqueness there?
yeah. Like Pit and Dark Pit, that makes sense. If a notable bow user like Decidui or Claude were playable, I could see them having the directional mechanic too. But in this case, doesn't need to happen.
No, does not.
Yep.
Although the Decidua that I put
So
on Smashtopia did not have the directional mechanic, I'm pretty sure. It said
you can
his
still go
arrows
check
could
him out
just.
though.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, his arrows could just lock abilities for a short time. Like you wouldn't be able to do certain things if you got hit by one. I don't remember. It's been
Oh,
a while
got it.
since I've looked at my Decidui.
Yeah, me too.
So we've got the Fire and Ice Hero's Bow. We've got the
Hmm.
Hurricane Spin. We've got Mirror Shield as an extra skill.
Yeah.
Down special.
Woo-hoo. It's
So
it's between Sandwand and what was yours again? Yeah,
thank you, Leaf.
yeah. I have my gut feeling for this one too.
What you got?
My gut is that my point regarding the Sandrod being used for Toy Link or Ravio or what have you is still valid, while the Deculeaf is unmistakably Toon Links. And because we're not using it in the up special, the down special is a good way to utilize it.
Agreed.
Okay, cool. So we got 4 Thangs out of 6 decided. And by the way, the side special is CLS Hammer, so.
Oh, of course it is. I was
Yep.
gonna lean heavy on that one. Come on now.
Yeah, there's no chance.
Yeah,
So 5 out of 6 decided. We just have to go for the final smash now.
which is either going to be all aboard, the Four Sword, or
Hmm.
what was your other one again?
The Ballad of
The
Gales.
Ballad of Gales. That's right.
Hmm. Um, it just depends because we have. I'm gonna let you talk first, actually, because I have a certain idea in mind.
So for this one, there's two that I like more than the other. I
Agreed.
like naturally. I mean, I like all aboard. I think it's a fun thing, and it's just like they're getting ran by a train. What? Oh
Hmm.
shit!
Hmm.
And then the other one I like is I actually really like the Four Sword flavoring over a Triforce Slash.
Yeah.
Any
Okay.
Link could do Triforce Slash, but I like this different take on it.
Interesting. I was actually thinking you would probably choose both cinematics, but I
No,
would
the Ballad of
understand why you're
Gales
not.
felt like it was a little busy.
Hmm. True, it could be. That, and you already have it kind of represented through the Hurricane Spin.
True.
Uh, and in this case, because my anti-Ballad of Gales argument was going to be, we already have the Wind Waker popping up in multiple moves, in the standard, in the up, and in the down, so we don't necessarily need it for the Final Smash too. It may have actually been better served as a Cyclone Slate. But um, so it's between the Four Sword and the All Aboard, which are both moves that represent games that are not represented in the special moves yet.
Is Daking
Um,
Leaf? I think Daking Leaf is in Spirit Tracks, isn't it? I thought
I
it was
can't
in
recall off the
both.
top of my head. We may need to do just a very quick
At the very least, it's not something that
research.
is restricted to just one game, like CL's Hammer is.
It's it's in Breath of the Wild.
I mean, I
That's why.
knew that.
But yeah, I can only find it without taking a break from the podcast to be like, oh, I'm going to do an advanced study on this. I can see that it's in the Wind Waker, Hyrule Warriors, and they're basically saying that's about it.
That's not right.
So,
It's in one
huh.
of them. I know it is.
Maybe it's the same exact utility, it's just not called the same thing. Kind of like how it's not called the same thing in the wild, and that's why it's not on the wiki.
Hmm.
Yeah, but either way, both very good move sets here. Um, which one gels better with the overall feeling of the move set might also come into play. It might be because Toon Link is such a snappy character. You're constantly he's like a Wolverine. You know, he's very fast and has a little oomph behind his attacks. In that case, the pacing of the character the Four Swords may be better served to that. But all aboard is such a good idea that can only be used here. That's where my heavy lean is going, just out of bias for the humor in it.
Right.
Hmm. So that's my thought at first.
I think
Is
all
Four
aboard can
Swords?
be
Yeah.
very funny. It's not something that
Hmm.
any of the links are going to be able to do. None of them have that kind of utility.
Yeah.
Four Swords can technically be represented in costumes, and it already is in all
It
different
is.
links.
That's a good point.
And the whole Triforce Slash thing, again, any link can do that. Like, I don't know what would, like, if we were to do a link that was purely based off of the original two games, I don't know what we would give him besides Triforce Slash as his final smash. I don't know what he has.
Hmm. But he would have Triforce Slash.
Probably.
Probably. That's true. Okay. And the Four Swords are represented in the four standard most colors of Toon Link's moves, costumes already.
Red,
All
blue,
of which
green,
are
and
still in
purple.
my costume. Yeah. The four primary colors.
Yep. Absolutely.
Sounds like we have a move set, unless we're going to consider Alfonso as a character in the future. Just kidding.
Oh, I've already mentioned Alfonso once, and I'm going to be mentioning him again. But just you wait on that. So just to make sure that we're confirmed here, our special moves for Toon Link are going to be standard special of the Hero's Bow, switching between fire and ice, side special of
Mhm.
Ciela's Hammer, up special of the Hurricane Spin, down special of the Deku Leaf, a final smash of All Aboard, an extra skill of Mirror Shield.
Yeah,
Now, how is
I
it that
think
the
that sounds
guy
good.
who hasn't played any of those Zelda games been the one that most of his ideas were used? How is this happening?
Because you spent tens of hours of your life rewatching the games that I didn't bother to play through more than once.
This is correct. I
So that's
research.
about that. Hmm.
So
Now, at least I can tell you that the Mariachi Entertainment Systems version of Dragon Roost Island, that gets you pumped up for an episode.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good track.
So
Check it out.
we've got three things left to discuss here before we can
Hmm.
call this episode a wrap. Special abilities, first of all. I think Toon Link should be able to wall jump, and he can use his grab attack with the hookah shot as a tether.
I
Or if we
agree.
wanted to
And I
change it to the
also,
whip, if we want to change it to the whip, we can do that too, and it's still a tether.
the only thing that I could say in the whip's favor is that the whip is an exclusive item to Spirit Tracks.
Wrong.
I think it might be in Twilight Princess too.
It's in Skyward Sword.
Skyward Sword. Oh, okay, yeah, that's true. But we're not going to do a Skyward Sword Link moveset anytime
It's
soon.
already on the wiki.
Yep. Did you use the whip?
I don't. Th- I don't think I mentioned using it.
Okay.
So it's not one of his regular attacks. I'm pretty sure, and I don't mention anything beyond those typically.
Mm-hmm. Most links have the hook shot grappling,
Oh
but
no!
this link has a whip.
My Skyward Link submission does have the whip as its side special.
Oh, interesting. So I don't know. Do you want to use the whip as a grab, or do you want to use the hook shot as a grab? Because ultimately,
I mean, I'm fine
not
either
much.
way. I don't think
All
it
right.
matters. It's basically the real question is: do I want him to have a short grab or a longer grab?
Yeah. For the sake of the character and keeping them well balanced, the longer grab is probably better.
So the whip then.
Sure.
Okay. I mean, the whip would be the longer grab.
That's true. Okay. Um, and then just we can talk about this out of the podcast too and figure it out for the wiki itself.
Yeah.
But there's so many ideas for just incorporating other items that would in his standards
Yeah.
that we can just mention in the special abilities. Like, oh, the Skull Hammer is his side special. Oh, the Cane of Pachi is his side standard, his side smash. The Cane of Pachi is a down smash, something like that. Because there's so many things and so many ways to represent Toon Link
Yeah.
and
I
all the
mean,
games that the designers may use.
Eslo could be the side aerial. He pegs
That's also
forwards.
very true. And while we're on this Minish Cap praise, Molmits can be incorporated as in the smash attacks or standard attacks. Uh, all manner of things.
Yeah,
Maybe he
absolutely.
can maybe he can throw a pig.
That might be a little much.
Okay. Maybe he can ride the big pig from Outset Island. Oh, that would have been a good entrance pitch. Oh well.
I was thinking victory pose. Right,
Man.
rides in on the. Hang on. Let's revisit victory pose for a brief second here. What if instead of failing to catch a pig, what if he starts riding in on a pig that's just like trying to buck him off, and it's just got this. It's a pig. It's squealing. It's trying to get this guy off of him, and Toon Link's doing his damnedest to stay on. Finally, the pig is able to knock him off. He falls on his ass. Again, he takes a little bit
Hmm.
of a tumble there, and the pig goes running off. This is a far superior victories animation.
Yeah.
I
Let's do it. I
like
can see I
this.
can I can see him almost doing like a rodeo kind of pose while he's riding the pig too.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. There you go. Who knew that my gibberish would actually lead us somewhere one?
It's happened a couple times. Like you're like 3 for 1,000.
Have I introduced you to Azurda?
More than once.
Okay. That's what I thought.
So, do you have anything else to say on different special abilities or traits that Toon Link might have?
Uh not at this time. Not anything that I can flesh out. I was almost thinking about different emotions that he's able to bring out because he's such an expressive character.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the Picto Box thing. Maybe in the Picto Box town he could have different faces like he does in the Wii U remaster of and he just swaps through them.
That's fair. Like each
Yeah,
time
that
he
could
uses
be
the talent,
fun.
he does a different face.
Yeah, exactly. And some of them will be happy or befuddled or angry or trying to put on a cool face or whatever.
Okay.
So there's things to swap through there. Other than that, other than potentially having Lenzo through the stage as an entrance, I
No.
have nothing. Okay. How about you?
How about alternate costumes?
Okay.
So naturally, he's going to be wearing his green default tunic for his standard costume. Eslo is not the hat.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the
Or
the first three I have here is the standard that you would expect: red link, blue link, purple link. Gotta have them, right?
someone call Dr. Seuss.
Sure. After that,
Red
I
link,
have.
blue link, purple link.
That's not how it goes, but okay.
Okay.
After that, I have a outfit that is the colors are changed to reflect his outfit in the original NES game. More the
Mm-hmm.
artwork instead of like the actual pixels because you kind of can't. But there's an
Mm-hmm.
NES Link outfit. The Dark Link that we've had for Toon Link since Brawl, which has always been
Mm-hmm.
a little bit unsettling, but
I
I feel
know.
like it works in a way. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
weird, but it also felt weird to replace it at this point.
Yeah.
These next four are where it gets a little bit more fun.
Oh yeah.
The lobster shirt from Outset Island,
I have that on mine too.
the pirate uniform from Hyrule Warriors, which is also based on what Nico wears,
Oh, nice. I'm down with
the
that.
engineer's outfit from Spirit Tracks,
Also on my list.
the dark
Yep.
red engineer's outfit, which is what Alfonso wears.
Also on my list.
There we go, ladies and
Nice.
gentlemen.
Yep. Yep.
We
The
like doing more
only
than just recolors when we can.
precisely. The only other thing that I had, and I'm not even sure where this came from anymore. This promotional artwork of Toon Link in pinstripe pajamas instead of his lobster shirt. So I was like, let's put him in the pinstripe pajamas.
What would you replace to have that?
Uh, Honestly, out of all of the choices we already have, nothing. I was
Okay,
just lobbing it out there to say that I had another idea.
right.
So he can't. What if he dressed up as Beetle?
No. No. That's stupid. Apologize.
I'm sorry. What if he dressed up as the Helmarok King?
Okay.
Okay, then we'll use that. We will
We will
replace
replace
the
Alfonso's
standard
outfit with
outfit.
the Helmrock King.
That would be bizarre. How about we just keep Alfonso's outfit?
Okay.
Okay, sounds good. And I was thinking the Royal Engineer uniform, Alfonso's uniform, or whatever. They have different types of hats, or in the case of the pajama outfit, no hat at all
Same with the
necessarily.
outfit. Same with the lobster shirt. Has no hat.
Yeah, that's But in the case of using the Eslo taunt, I just figure in the Windwake in the lobster thing, he just appears anyway. You just pull him off
Yeah, I feel like
or
for
pull him out of
for
a
the
pocket or
taunt,
something.
for the taunt, it's not a problem. Ezreal can still be there. The only problem is that if there are any attacks where Ezlo does something, such as the proposed side aerial move where he picks, then any of the costumes he has to be wearing the hat.
Right. Or
Which that's the
not
one problem.
necessarily either because
Which is a good thing that we don't discuss those moves because we don't have to worry
yeah,
about it.
well, Eslo could still just kind of pop out of the back of Link's shirt or something.
It'd be
I
really
guess.
weird.
Yeah, but it would be fun.
Eh,
As the engineer outfits though, where there is a hat being used, it's just very different from the standard hat.
yeah,
I just figure Eslo can be like brown or burgundy. No big deal.
maybe.
Yeah. But that's a wrap?
No.
Oh yeah, we have to talk about the stage.
Exactly. And my stage is the pirate ship. I see no reason to change it.
Yeah, that's where I was going to. Which over the course of the episode, I was like, "Oh crap. I should have had a something else to pitch because if we do Tetra, the pirate ship would be her stage probably."
I thought about that as well,
Uh
but I also figured if we do Tetra, then we can just briefly address that in that episode and be like, Tetra's home stage is the pirate ship, which means we have to change Toon Links, and Toon Links is now this. We could also just make
yeah.
Toon Links be the Spirit Track stage, but I don't like that stage.
It's a little weird. We
It's
can also
not
be the
good.
Temple of the Ocean King.
Pass.
Too many bad memories, huh?
I'm just
Yeah.
really thankful that that Let's Player sped through those parts and cut out the chunks that we didn't need to see again. Thank you, based Trevor
Yeah.
Conroy. You are a
hmm
lifesaver.
Or you can ride on Valoo on a great sea tour. That would be fun. However, the easy way out of this is
Is
the pirate.
Pirate Ship, which is an
Torpedo
amazing
launch.
stage. One of the best.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. One of my very favorites. I think it might actually be my favorite, period.
Wow, that's quite the declaration
Yeah.
when there's over 100
Yeah.
stages.
Seriously. There's a few that are up there. I mean, I shamefully like basic stages like Delfino Plaza too.
Luigi's Mansion.
Luigi, yeah, that's another. Brawl had some great stages, is what we're getting at, I
Brawl
suppose.
also had some shit stages. 25M. Wait,
Yeah, 25,
75M. 75M.
75M, Hand and Bow.
Mario Bros.
Ugh. Yeah. And that Donkey
Rumble
Kong one.
Falls.
Well, yeah, that one.
Ugh.
Oh well, Pirate Ship is great though.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. Well, now it's a wrap.
Now it's a wrap. That is
Yep.
our Toon Link decloned. Please do let us know what you think. If there's anything that you would rather see changed, or you think some of our ideas are stupid, or Toon Link just doesn't need changed. Or maybe you would rather
I
have Toon Link be replaced and we have Toy Link from Link's Awakening instead. In which case, I ask you, why?
We'll talk about Toy Link one day. Ooh,
Probably.
boy. Uh,
It would not shock me if we did.
no, especially since I'll be his champion advocate. But since that's not that Link and that's not that dance, I will say this was a fun episode. I feel like we fairly evenly delivered our different moves and taunts between each other, which doesn't always turn out that way. Sometimes it turns out a little lopsided one direction or the other. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it was cool playing into a series, especially this branch of the series that I'm personally passionate about. So this was easy peasy for me. Not necessarily for you with your hours and hours and hours of research, but it paid off in the special move, so good for you. Very. Other than that, potential arguments that I could see against our Toon Link already, where they're going to be like, "Oh, you mentioned the bow being essential to Link and having it in this move set, but what about the bombs?" And to which I say, "Oh well."
To which I say, no,
So
let me address that. Let me address that here real quick. What
okay,
about the bombs? Well, what can you do to make the bombs be different?
not much, and
Not
Tetra can use them
much. Like,
potentially.
there are some, like, okay, we've already seen, granted, there's currently no character using regular bombs besides Toon Link and Young Link and Smash, and they're clones, so they kind of don't count. Technically, they're now clones of each other because the character they're cloned off is no longer the same character, which is really weird.
It's like Slenderman
But
breaking.
with the current Link that we have in Smash, or Wild Link, as I have him on the Smashtopia website, he has the remote bombs. The Skyward Swords version of Link that I have on the website uses the beetle to fly and deliver bombs. The Twilight Link that I have on the website, I don't think uses bombs. I'm checking real quick here. Yeah, no, he doesn't use bombs either. It said he has the ball and chain for his down special. Not
Oh
every
boy,
the
nice.
bombs really don't have many different ways that they can be used. There's bomb shoes, there's the bomb lings, there's the beetle being able to use throw bombs, and there's the remote bombs. Those are just the different kinds of bombs, and then the regular ones. And none
Hmm.
of them felt right for Toon Link. I considered the
That
bomb
would have
shoe.
been
I considered it,
yeah.
but in
Hmm.
the end, I was just like, I like Deku Leaf better. That's a
Yeah.
cooler thing that we can do here.
Bomb Chew is also one of those moves like the Sand Wand or Rod that can be used for other links.
Absolutely.
And man, I just had another down special idea. Why don't you just get one of those Hyoi pairs from Beetle Shop and throw them out like a bomb, except instead of a bomb, when the pair breaks on an opponent, seagulls attack them. We'll save that for the Beetle moveset.
Sure.
Well, it was a fun episode. Before we split though, we should give them a bit of a sneak peek on the next one, huh?
What is the next one?
Oh, the next one is a Smasher Dash. Of course, it is ending our sixth little cycle around the sun of on topic Smashtopia Smasher Dashes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be two matchups as usual. The first are indie darlings, Shantae versus Shovel Knight. And secondly, get over here, because it's Scorpion versus what I'm going to see when I fall asleep after this. Finally, Nightmare.
Oh, Nightmare,
Yep.
our old friend.
Yep. Yep. So Nightmare from the Kirby series, of course, and
Naturally.
Scorpion from that game about fighting bugs on the Wii, Deadly Creatures.
I was going to say the Scorpion main battle tank from Halo.
I was going to say the Scorpion King. No, it's Scorpion from and Nightmare from Soul Calibur.
Yes, we've got two bouts of third-party characters, indies, and then third-party fighting game characters. Should be a fun
Hmm.
discussion.
Yeah, I'm betting on it. And in the meantime, this is Zantok, and I'm signing out.
And this is Jonno, and I am logging back into AIM.
Yes, you are.